Do you feel like we can, as human beings, find peace if we have pain, sadness, or darkness inside of us and we're always running away from it or numbing it?
No, there's no way. I think you're just, it's almost like you're being hunted, like you're running, but like your emotions are hunting you. They're trying to like find you in some way or another to get you to acknowledge them and try to process them, because how can you walk around with such a heavy load? And I mean, that was like fast forward a year later, like I stopped all the hard drugs, started changing my habits, started eating a little bit better, started exercising, started examining my relationships. And, it was sad because I started noticing how shallow all of my relationships were. And, but when I started meditating, and I was even more so had to practice being with my emotions, I went through that, it was a silent 10-day meditation course, first one I had ever done. And it was so difficult.
I can imagine.
But at the end of it, I felt like my mind had lost like 100 pounds.
Holy cow.
And I was like, how do I, like, my mind feels better. And even though like I barely finished this course, but that's when it showed me, I was like, oh, you can actually heal yourself. And that's I think the reason why I'm here now.
Wow. What do you think happens if we never process and acknowledge our emotions?
I think repetition. You keep repeating, you keep sort of going through the motion, and you end up slowly just accumulating more and more density because you're just repeating the same reactive habit patterns over and over again. And we don't realize that every reaction, it creates an imprint on the mind, and it predisposes the mind to react in the same way, to perceive in the same way. So you can just get denser and denser and denser.
Yeah, and I think these reactions also cause our nervous system to then follow suit and react and be on more high alert, which causes chronic stress, chronic illness, and
exactly,
and disease in the body as well, when our mind is not able to address the pains of the past and process it correctly. So you get into meditation. You do a 10-day silent meditation retreat, and then afterwards, are you all in 2 hours a day, or do you get away from it for a while, come back later?
Yeah, it took me a while. It took me like 2 years to start meditating 2 hours a day, where I didn't understand what was happening in the meditation course. Like I didn't quite understand why it was working, but I knew I felt better, right? Like I was like doing my best to follow the instructions, the meditation instructions, and so that was July of 2012 was the first one. And when I realized that I felt better, I ended up signing up for another one 2 months later.
A 10-day one.
Yeah. So I signed up.
Silent 10 days.
Silent again.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the second one was September of 2012. And I got the same result. I was like, shoot, I feel better again. Like I feel better.
Like, dang it. This thing works. Oh, man.
And it was tough. It was tough going back into it the second time because I knew how hard it is.
It's demanding.
Yeah, it's really demanding. I mean, you're meditating like 10 plus hours a day. And
you can't speak to anyone.
You're not speaking to anyone. If you have questions to the teachers, you can ask them questions, clarification and whatnot. But you're really there almost for that 10-day period, practicing living like a monk. Like you're not going to become a monk or anything like that, but it's a monk type life.
Yeah.
And it was, grueling because you get yourself away from all of the distractions. Like there's no phone, no email, no social media, no nothing. It's just you and yourself and this practice that's going to help you engage better with everything that arises.
That's crazy, man. Okay, so that's 11 years ago when you did this, I guess, 10, 11 years ago when you start this.
Yeah.
And you were in a relationship with your now wife before then, I guess for probably 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. So we were together about 6 years before the first meditation course. And so that first 6-year period, like we got together young, like she was 18 and I was 19. We met in college. Immediately there was a connection there. Like immediately we became great friends. We're hanging out alone all the time. And there was no we were like friends first for a while. And I think after 3 months, we realized that there were feelings there and we got together, but there was just connection. And there was probably zero emotional maturity between the two of us. We didn't know how to process our own emotions. We didn't know how to argue in a manner that would be productive. We, all we knew was blame, was, the battle to win arguments.
Really?
And really, like, now that I think about it, it's really like, it's dominance. Like, if you want to win an argument, right, it's what are you trying to do? You want to dominate the narrative.
Yeah.
And we would it was we were like in this tough hurricane for 6 years together, and we'd break up, get back together, but we never could really pull fully apart because like the connection was just so undeniable. So we kept trying to figure out like, how can we do this better? And it wasn't until we started meditating that ever so slowly harmony started arising in our relationship. And now, I mean, we're in a far better, there's nothing perfect about the picture, right? But we're in a far better place because healing has happened inside of both of us as individuals. Self-awareness has developed, so there's less projection between us. And we've developed that calmness so that we can have patience when we have to like talk through, more serious things.
I mean, it sounds like you both had your own wounds or your own past pains or whatever it might be. When two people get together and they haven't healed their past, what typically happens from experience that you've seen over the last 10 years of couples you've met or stories you've heard?
I mean, so this is the thing that I find really often is like, whenever two people are in close proximity, whether they're in a relationship or not, an intimate relationship or not, you literally have two egos. And these two egos, when they rub up against each other, sometimes there's going to be friction. Like, egos are rough, right? It's almost like two rocks. You rub the right rocks and there's going to be fire, right? So these egos, I think, when we carry that past pain, they're dense, they're super rough. And when you do that healing work, you smooth out that roughness, you decrease that density that you're carrying so that you can have more self-awareness when points of friction happen, because those are undeniable. You're not going to like heal yourself and then never more will you like have arguments or anything like that. That's unrealistic. But you can sort of maintain your inner harmony or try your best to while something difficult is happening.
Yeah. I love that you kept using this word harmony, because that's what I feel like I've been developing within me for the last few years in my healing journey at this stage of healing. Because I feel like healing is a journey and you're to keep healing forever. But at this stage of healing, it's been the word and the theme has always been harmony and developing it within me.
Yeah.
And really not worrying what's happening around me. But as long as I create that within me, I'm going to have more peace in my external world. And when two people in relationship develop, cultivate harmony, cultivate a beautiful garden inside of them, as opposed to a desert or a rocky mountains inside of them, it's easier to navigate challenges in life.
Can I ask you, so what does like harmony feel like for you?
Peace.
Peace.
Nice. Like laying on a calm beach and just hearing waves like gently grazing the sand.
That's so
just
good.
Calm.
It's funny because I'm thinking to myself when I was listening to you talk, like, how do I perceive harmony? And it's clarity and peace.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You talk about this on page 154 of The Way Forward. When your self-love increases, you become far less willing to harm others. Why? Because real self-love slowly opens the door to unconditional love for all beings. And it sounds like, the more I'm talking to you about this, it sounds like when we have hurt or sadness about something in our life, whether it's a recent hurt or sadness or past that keeps coming up, we don't know how to fully love ourselves for the pain, the shame, or the feelings we have towards that memory.
Yeah.
And so we have guilt, sadness, anger, resentment, a lack of forgiveness of others, of ourselves. And therefore we harm self and probably others more frequently when we do that.
Totally.
But you said, when your self-love increases, that's when you're more in harmony with yourself and less reactive to others, is what it sounds like.
Totally. I really believe that. I think if you were literally to wonder, like, what is the missing piece? And we're talking about both words, like a piece in a puzzle and peace in the earth. Like, what's missing? It's self-love.
Ooh.
And I really genuinely believe, and I've seen this process not only happen inside of me, but others. And as that, we're talking genuine self-love, like not commercial self-love, not like, what are you buying yourself and all this stuff? Not that. We're talking about how you engage with yourself in an accepting manner, right? The energy you put into your personal transformation, the sort of the willingness to engage with your own emotional history. That's what I really think is
Yes.
genuine self-love. But once you're able to engage with yourself and activate those parts of self-love so that you can better know and heal yourself, then that sort of reactive pattern to lash out on others, to, wish harm on others, all those things just decrease, they melt away. And even for people you don't like, you're just like, oh, I wish them the best. But may they be over there, but I wish them the best,
Exactly.
And I think it's pretty across the board. I think
Yes.
if as people really develop that quality and can just engage with their past better, I think they're less likely to want to harm others.
It's so fascinating because there was definitely decades where I was extremely reactive or combative or defensive or emotional, right? In certain moments. Not all the time, but like when I was triggered, when the wound was triggered in me, I had this like, okay, I want to win. I want to be right. I want to defend. And I always felt like people just don't understand me.
Yeah.
People like don't get me. And I was like, why don't they understand me? Why I'm so angry or why I'm frustrated about these certain moments.
Yeah.
Now, after being on a healing journey, I can witness other people doing it and say, oh, wow, yeah, I remember that because that was me for a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
And have compassion for people, but also know that the only way I was able to have more calm and inner peace was doing the healing work.
Yeah.
That's the only way I was able to get there because I tried it from other ways, making money, being successful, having, attractive women around me, trying all the things that you think are going to bring you more peace. They didn't bring me peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was until I did the inner work and I turned around and I faced the pain
Yeah.
as opposed, the thing that was hunting me and haunting me, I faced it and started to work with it
Yeah.
as opposed to run away from it. That's when over time it started to have more, calming reactions. It's still not perfect, but it definitely improved over time. Your 4 life lessons in your book, you say the first one, build inner peace or fall to outer chaos. This is like the missing piece
Yeah. Yeah.
in the world, but also
Yeah.
the peace within you. Your number one life lesson of these 4 life lessons is build inner peace or fall to outer chaos. Second one you say is be flexible. Being flexible does not mean giving up. The third, appreciate the closest friends in your life. And the fourth, challenging times do not last forever. The only thing is, challenging times may last forever if you don't face them.
Yeah. Yeah.
These painful memories will keep coming
It'll
up
keep haunting you. Yeah.
unless you face them and find a way to build inner peace.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's really true. And I think it's interesting because you can look at it from different perspectives where challenging times, ultimately everything that arises ultimately passes away. So something that may be difficult may disappear and then it may come back, right? So in that sense, it doesn't last forever. But in the other sense that you're talking about, it's totally true, where there will be particular difficulties that you carry within you that will just keep popping up. They'll get triggered by a certain thing that your memory is like, oh, this again, danger, danger, danger. And then you feel the reaction again. So these things have to be addressed.
Yes.
And I love that you're pointing out too, the falling to outer chaos, because
Yeah.
that's something that I feel like as people who care about personal transformation, people who really want to build peace within themselves, the challenge is, can you maintain your energy the way you want it to be? Because human beings, we are often in this system of like osmosis where if I have a particular emotion, whether it's anger or joy, right, whatever it may be, I'll usually want another person to join us in that emotion.
Right.
Right. So
Even
it's
the
like if
bad
I'm,
ones.
Yeah, exactly. Even the bad ones. So like if I'm angry, I'm like, please join me in my anger. And
Right,
either
right.
by making you angry or by being like, let me tell you a story about this thing that happened that pissed me off. Please join me in also
This
being
jerk,
angry.
they
Yeah.
did this. Yeah.
Right. But the same thing with the lighter emotions, right? We want to partake in them, and those are beautiful. Like those happily, yeah, let me join you in your joy. Like, let me be,
Yes.
I would love to be happy for you. But when someone is inviting you to join them in their anger, whether by pissing you off or by telling you what pissed them off so you can be angry with them, I think those moments are where the real sort of like, this is a test, right? This is like, I don't need to join you in this anger. Actually, I'm okay. Like, I don't want that heaviness.
Yes.
I could even practice, like, especially if it's a dear loved one, like I could even practice listening to you and seeing you, but also just maintaining my peace while I'm trying to see you. And it's really difficult, right? It's not like a, get 100% type test, but you can do your best to just keep your energy as it is, especially as you're moving through different environments, moving out of the work environment to, different situations that you're in. Because I think being able to manage your own energy, I think it's just a sign of mastery. And I think you can realize when you're in a survival state, when you're living from a reactive perspective, right? When things are sort of happening and the reactions are coming up so quickly and everything that you're perceiving immediately reminds you of a past situation, and you're assessing the present moment through the lens of the past.